them in
Yeah.
the, oh,
Yeah.
worked on them.
On the
And
record. Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
I like how she just interrupts, you know? Um, and like, and of course, one of the last films I worked on for before the computer took over was Anastasia. And I was working in Phoenix at the time, and I got to stay on correcting, fixing things, but it was on the computer. And so I'm like, oh, okay, I guess, you can see the writing on the wall. And um, I didn't want to just stop. I didn't want to go back to school to learn how to work on a computer because I'd be competing with 20 somethings who
Yeah.
already knew the computer.
We're faster. Mhm.
So it was just a fluke that I was in Berlin and I worked on a film. It was called Happily Never After. I was doing character design, and it ended up being completely shelved and turned into a computer, a 3D animated film. So, which was really disappointing. But that's where I saw a ton of felt work. It's a huge mecca for Mongolians to come, and they're refugees, and they're also political asylum. Berlin is one of the main areas where they come, and we think that they're the ones that have started felt making. They're the ones that put wool fiber into their boots, and they turn them into the little booties, like the inserts, and they make the yurts out of felt. And when I came home, I was living in Prescott at the time. That's where I grew up, and my I took a class in Almont, Mississippi Mills School of the Arts, and it was a wet felting class for a week, and that was in 2002. And so the rest is like I just have been felting ever since.
Hmm. And what is it that attracts you about it? Why do you like it so much?
It's funny because I've done so many other things, and I always sort of flit from thing from craft to craft. But I've always found something different to do with felting. I have all kinds of different, like I can do 2-dimensional things, 3-dimensional things, and it's just the art of creating, and it goes fairly quickly. And I can do pet portraits, and I can do landscapes and things and sculptures. You can do so much just with this one needle, and that's why I like it so much, I think.
And that's a good segue to showing a few slides of your work. Um, just a second now. Share screen. All right.
It's weird seeing me the biggest thing on the screen. So
There. Now you won't be the biggest thing on the screen for a few minutes. So we're going to have, I'm going to move this thing over here. You're going to see me moving things around, but you won't really. And I'm going to start a slideshow. Here we go. Now, wait a second. Slideshow. There. So tell
this
us about this.
um, I called it Study in Marble, and she's about maybe 2 feet high and 2.5 feet long. And I really, really wanted to see if I could trick the eye and create something that you didn't quite know what it was. And I I think I did a good job because I was in a fiber show, and a businessman, it was down in the CBC building in Toronto in the atrium, and a businessman was walking through, and he went to the organizer and said, I thought this was a fiber show. What's that piece of marble doing here? And so it made me feel really good that I achieved what I set out to do. So she's something that I did her probably about 10 years ago. This is lamb chop. I have part of my business.
Sorry, it went,
It jumped.
it jumped. I'm sorry. I got so intrigued that I messed it up. There. I think I
That's
got it right now.
part of my business I call vegan taxidermy. And I like to make little trophies of animals on plaques. And so this is one of my more popular creations, and they're either lamb chop or cupcake. I always name my critters, and this is lamb chop. And of course, I hope people know who lamb chop is.
Maybe you should remind us. I know who Lamb Chop is, but I can't remember what show it was on. And
Oh, was it the what was his name? Well, there's Sherry and the lamb chop, and then there was Rusty the. They were all puppets.
yeah,
A kids show, and I want to say there was a green giant in there, but I'm not sure. Does anybody else remember that?
It was the Friendly Giant.
Friendly Giant.
Chop was on
Right.
the Giant. Okay.
That's my
Yeah.
commercials playing back on me. The green giant.
That's on a can of vegetables.
Yes. The Friendly Giant and Jerome, Rusty. Yeah, that was a kid's show that I used to watch.
I had forgotten that Lamb Chop was on Friendly Giant. There you go. All right. We'll move to the next one now, and I'll pause it right away.
Okay. This is one of the things that I teach is burst out of the frame tulips. And they do really look like they're about to jump out at you. And that's the beauty of using a felting needle to create these three-dimensional flowers. And the colors, it's just such a vibrant thing. And you can pretty much do anything you want with a felting needle. And I'll show you a bit. I've got some tulips on the other screen, and I'll show you a little bit about how I actually do the felting.
Great.
These are my over-the-top pin cushions. I had a very large amount of pickle dishes and all those little dishes that, you know, they were divided little dishes that my mom had. And I didn't really want to just get rid of them. You see lots of them in Value Village. And so I started to create these little sculptures, these vignettes that are in these dishes. And they are actually pin cushions. So if you have to justify having one in your home, it's got a use.
And there's different techniques you've used here to make the different fibers look. Some of them are shiny, some of them are.
It's all the different fibers that I use.
Ah,
That's the difference. Like I've actually used yarn, and I've used some silk, so that looks a bit shinier.
right.
And it's all used the same technique. It's all using a single needle. This is a series of seasons.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You can tell I'm not a CBC host. There we go.
These are all separate pieces that I did that I suddenly thought I want to see them all together. And so this piece is about 4 feet long, and I had it in a show in Portage du Fort last summer, and someone very graciously purchased it. So I don't have it anymore, but it was a piece that I took a lot of joy making this because I love the seasons.
Oh yeah, it's got the different seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I've not really noticed that before.
This is a show that's on right now in Shawville. It's a really great restaurant called Cafe 349, and we're on until the end of February. We got extended, which was quite lovely, and it's me and 3 others that we're all fiber artists, and we've taken we all seem to work together, our work. And so we've done a few shows together, and if you get a chance, you should go up and see it because it's a really nice show, and the restaurant is very good. These are the pet portraits. This is Jack. And the reason I really like doing pet portraits in felt is he's actually three-dimensional. His nose is sticking out from the frame. And it really lends itself to fur. And I just, it's a real honor to do a pet portrait of someone's pet that's passed on. And so I find I really enjoy doing these. And I think it really shows what the fur could look like.
Get the eyes like that. They really look like they're glistening, like real eyes.
That's the first thing I do. That was something I learned in animation is the eyes are what everybody looks at.
Yeah.
When you're watching something on TV or whatever, it's the eyes that they're the windows of the soul, and that's you have to get those right. They have to be perfect, and then I go on and I make the rest of the character.
Maybe the last one. Yes. So you may have thought there were more, but that was the last one that I had. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stop sharing and put you full screen again. There you are. So is there anything else you wanted to show us a little bit about how you do this work? And I can put the iPhone on full screen and you can go over there and work on that. Would you like to do that now?
Sure.
All right. Let's try that.
Then roll away.
There.
So this is a big piece that I've been working on. And actually, if you look at it, it's quite three-dimensional. Hope I didn't make anybody seasick there. The felting needle. Let's see, can I really show you? If I show it to you on here, you can't really see it. The felting needle has little notches cut into the stem of the needle. And what they do is they take the wool fiber, this is sheep's wool, and all you do is you poke. It goes right through, and you can see the back is all these poking, the things have been poked through. If you don't like it, you can pull it out again. So there's no mistakes. And so if I wanted to do a little bit of black in between here, I could just poke that in. I like putting a lot of borders on my pieces. And that's all you do. All you do is just poke. So that's what I mean by if you have lots of anxiety or your anger issues, you just poke away. And it's quite a meditation. It's very calming. When I teach people, that's usually people don't even talk. All you hear is this sound. I don't know if you can hear it over there, but it's just a sound of something being pushed into something else. And I use a very large piece of foam because it does hurt a lot when I poke myself.
Oh,
I think the one was when I poked the ball of my thumb. That was bad. And that's it. That's all it takes.
Well,
real surprise.
It has to be something to the raised objects. How do you do that?
The raised objects. You mean like the tulips that are
popping out? Yeah. Are they not popping up from the surface?
They are. Can you see that? Let's see.
Yeah. So how do you do that?
That is like I will make a black tulip. I will, let's see, can you see this? Yes.
Yeah.
I will put that separately. And if I'm going to put it down on, because the fiber is so bulky, I can poke it in all around the edges.
That is so cool.
You can see,
Yeah.
and that's all it takes. And then you can just rip it off if you don't like it. So it's a pretty cool medium. And actually, if you bear with me, I just finished a pet portrait and I can show you just how 3D he is.
Sure.
It'll take me like 30 seconds to go and get him. So let me just trip over everything and put out of the way.
And everybody else, you should be thinking about what your questions might be for Wendo when she's finished, so that you have some ready.
Okay, I'm back. Let's see.
Oh, look.
So this is Sky. And he is quite three-dimensional. I have to show you. I really am making everybody seasick, I think.
Once again, you look at those eyes and they look real.
Yeah.
So striking. It's beautiful.
So it's a very, very forgiving medium. And it you can do so many different things with it. Like I do all kinds of the three-dimensional things. And I always thought I would get bored with it, but I just haven't. I'm constantly coming up with different things to do, different ways of using this this medium. And I'm just really enjoying it. What else can I say?
Well, I told people to think about questions that they might have. I've asked mine as we went along, but I imagine there might be some others. And so should I take this off of full screen now?
Well, I'd rather look at him than at me, but that's okay. It's okay.
You.
Hi, Wendo.
Hi.
It's Jan here. Your work is beautiful.
Thank
It
you.
really is. I can't believe you've come from such a varied background, and then once again, you've knocked it out of the park. What I'd like to talk to you about is my daughter and I have been running a children's art camp program at Mira for a number of years now, and one of the favorite things of the children to do is felting. They absolutely love it.
Wet felting? Felting.
Yeah, it's very, as long as a child understands the safety of the needle, and where to park it when they're not using it, like right into the foam.
Yeah.
They come up with the most amazing ideas. We've had children do things like landscapes and animals and robots and all snakes. And we continue to do the program because the children ask for it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Do you do classes, Wendo? Do you do adult classes and teaching felting?
I do.
You do?
Yes. I do the wet felting classes and the needle felting classes. I don't know if you knew or know about Mask in Ottawa.
I don't know.
Organization that they bring artists into schools. And
is that the program, Helen, we were talking about at the board meeting the other night?
Yes, Mask. Yeah.
Okay. So I do know about it, Wendo.
Yeah. I was part of it several years ago, and I would go into schools and we'd create wet felted pieces, and kids just loved it. They just
yeah. Well, kids love three-dimensional work.
Yes.
And they like it being open-ended, so you're not like running a class where you say, okay, you have to do this. This is what you have to do. They get to have their own ideas and move through it. And you're just there to guide them with basically how, the method.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a fun thing to do. I used to teach, my sister was a librarian in Brighton, and I would go in every year, the summer programs, and I would teach there. And they're there would be so many kids that they'd be on the floor because we didn't want to turn anybody away, but the carpets got very clean. All the soap and water.
Yes, I'll bet.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I love, actually, that's what I do most now is teach.
Really. We have a local lady in Brook Valley. Her name is Zoe, Liango, I think, maybe.
Liango. Yeah.
Liango. And
Liango. Lianga.
Liango. And she has taught at Mira wet felting, and I took that class. I made a couple of like dresser scarves and a pair of mitts.
Cool.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
and they're super warm.
Yes. Yeah.
What is wet felting as opposed to dry felting?
You take the same wool, although this wool, wherever I put it, this wool is quite a bit thicker than what you would normally use for wet felting. But you lay it down. You can see this, and in different cross sections. You see what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
And however many layers, if you wanted to have a good solid back base, you would do 3 layers, all different, facing different ways, because all wool fiber has a little scales on it. And when it gets wet, the scales kind of open up, and heat, your pressure of your hands, if you're rubbing them, you just think about throwing a wool sweater in the wash. It shrinks and it mats together. And that's what happens with this fiber. It becomes a piece of fabric. And that's what wet felting is. And there's a huge trend to knit something out of wool and then wash it. And that's felting as well. But for me, that's way harder to do, to actually knit something and then felt it. So I'd rather just felt it. But it's a pretty fun thing. Your hands get very, very clean. And I like to do nuno felting, which is you lay your fiber on a silk scarf, and the fiber migrates through the silk, and it shrinks it and contracts it, and it turns it into a whole different kind of fabric. And I'll be teaching that at the Textile Museum at the end of this month.
In Elmont? Really?
Is that a wet or dry or some combination?
It's wet.
Okay, but with the silk base.
Yeah, yeah. The silk, as long as you can blow through the silk, then the fiber will migrate through it.
Right.
And I actually something here, but I don't know where it is, so I'm not going to show you.
So I'm wondering if you've done needle, sewing machine. I have an embellisher.
Oh yes.
A 5 needle. And have you ever done that work?
I have. Yeah.
Do you have an embellisher?
Yes, I have an embellisher. I got given one because I took a class on how to do it. And I thought, this is amazing. Like I'll use this all the time. But my problem is I like to sit on my couch. And I found using the embellisher was loud. And I think it's really great if you want to do a whole bunch of stuff, big background, flat. But if you're sculpting, no good. And I finally I stopped using it. I think I gave it away to somebody who, really wanted to try it, because I guess it was the noise and the fact that you don't have as much control because it's 5 needles. You could go down to 1 needle if you wanted.
Right.
But I think I like that simple, single needle that I haven't really ever thought of that I would want to use it again. So I don't even think they make them anymore. I'm not sure if they do.
Well, I really enjoy it. And when the pandemic hit, it became very hard to get needles.
Yes.
So that's a real challenge. And I don't know that I've used it since, but I really enjoy it. I don't know if you know Marta Muka,
I
uh, an artist near Tweed, and she does her own fiber dyeing. I've taken fiber dyeing classes from her, and
yeah.
she does the most exquisite, and she uses a needle embellisher. And for me, and I work mainly in abstract, and so it's a great medium for abstract.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Very cool.
Mhm. You do beautiful work. I really appreciate what you do. And I actually I've done a wet I went to try to find it, but I'm kind of rearranging the things and I couldn't find it. But and I have the material for the needle, so I especially wanted to be inspired. And you've been very inspiring, and I just need to get it out because it would be a good, you can put it on your lap once you have the, of course, a hard thing underneath. So you've been very inspiring to me, and I appreciate that a great deal.
Oh, I'm glad. I want to see everything. I want you to show me next week.
Oh, I've got a lot going on. It won't be next week, but I'll try to find the wet felt that I had. It was a landscape, and I've only done one. There used to be a fiber making curriculum. I almost got a certificate at St. Lawrence College
I
in
oh,
Kingston.
yes.
And we did wet felting one time and lots of other things. So yeah, that's since closed, so it's not available
Yeah,
anymore.
it's really too bad because I taught just a little class of doll making at the Brockville campus
Hmm.
class, and it's really sad to see it go because it was a really good, solid education.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Great. I loved the way your animation of the way that I mean two totally different techniques, and yet you brought the skill, and like when you mention it mostly in the eyes, but you brought that skill that you honed to a very fine degree obviously in your career, and used it and made the adaptations necessary to work it in a new medium.
Yeah, it's something that I was forced to do it,
Hmm. Hmm.
yet I really enjoy what I'm doing now, and I'm not sure I could ever go back into animation if asked. But this, I don't know if anybody's ever seen these. There's little videos on Facebook and YouTube about felted animation
No.
in the UK. Oh my God, she's just incredible, and she's nuts because I don't know how she has the patience to do it. But if you just look up felted animation,
Oh, that'll be fun.
it's crazy.
Are these on YouTube, Window?
Yeah, everybody always sends them to me.
Amazing what you can find on YouTube.
It's done in stop frames, right? Like so she does like she moves it a minuscule of a centimeter and then she takes a picture and just keeps going through that with every little thing along the way, right?
And it's like it's her hand with a little frying pan, and then she
Yeah.
puts butter in it, and it's all felt. It's all fiber.
Yes, I have seen it. It's pretty
Yeah, and it makes me so tired.
well, she must have incredible patience to deal with that amount of detail in miniature. It's funny, my dog heard you say lamb chop a few times and she brought her stuffed animal in here, which is lamb chop. She
Oh,
started squeaking it, so I had to send it out. It's not a felted toy.
But I don't understand. There's these felted dog toys that are just it's like I don't understand them because they're hair and
Yes,
I can ingest them like crazy.
yes. I don't think they're safe.
My cat loves my fiber, so I have to keep it all in bags because
Yes,
I take it and he will run away with it, and it's not fun. It's I got a great video of him, and then I had to stop. like, because my vet would be really incensed if she saw what he does with it.
Well, you'd really want to be careful that he's not got his paws around when you're doing the needle too, because they get so curious at something moving.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Now, Helen actually has her hand up. This is somebody who obeys the rules.
She was a teacher.
Helen, you may speak.
I never taught with Zoom though. Well, at least not in this kind of way. So my question though was looking at your beautiful dog and his nose that sticks out. How do you keep these things clean? Like, wouldn't it over the years or even the weeks get a little dusty on his nose and like it's hard enough keeping just picture frames clean, I find. But is there any tricks?
No, not really. I mean, I use a feather duster. I don't use any kind of Swiffer products because that is toxic. But I'll use like a feather duster, and I have very long-haired cats, and maybe I just don't see it. I don't know, but I don't. It doesn't tend to stick to the fiber, and I have lots of fiber art in my house, and if I notice like a cobweb or something like that, I will take it off, and nobody else is supposed to notice these things. But I don't have a problem with it, and I don't like to put it behind glass because I want you to touch it. And if I give people the option, if they want to put like a pet portrait behind glass, then yes, they can do that. But I prefer to have it out so that people can actually touch it and feel it, and because it's a tactile thing. I've never really had a problem with people coming back to me and saying it's full of dust and it's decomposing or whatever. I haven't had. Oh wait, I did have mice nest in behind one of my heads. I think it was a moose head, and people moved and they pulled the moose head off the wall, and there was mice nest stuff in back behind, and they were embarrassed, but they still wanted to tell me. So I made a new moose for them.
So you would have to, maybe you could solve that by putting some kind of a backing on the frame.
Oh yeah, I do. It's like a slice of wood, but somehow they burrowed up and in. Perfect nest for them. But I took lots of pictures because I thought it was great. They weren't very impressed. They were kind of shocked and upset, but I'm really happy that they told me. I thought that was good.
Rena, you've got your hand up.
So with the dog, let's say, because I'm a dog person, how many hours do you think went into that? Because it's like the eyes alone.
Yeah, that's a few hours right there. I'd say it's about a 40-hour job.
So weeks worth.
I don't do it all at once because I do get bored, so I have to walk away, and I have to let it sit somewhere. And if I don't quite like it, pardon me, I'll look at it in a mirror, and that's how sometimes the eyes just a little bit off. Or I'll set it beside the TV so that I'll just be watching TV and I just always see it out of the corner of my eye, and that's how I look at it and make sure that it's on point, like it's the way.
You've done that from a photo someone gave you? Yeah. Okay. Because I know a pet portrait artist and she does it on commission, and she says occasionally she'll get one that says that doesn't look the same, and I'm thinking it's probably the eyes, because that's what dogs are all about, is their eyes. Yep. That's the hard part.
Yep. Exactly.
So the fact you start with that, and you're starting with the hardest part.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to, because if you don't get them right, there's no point, because you could labor something, and it's just like I've done pets where I'm like, no, it doesn't work, and I've like the people have come and seen it and they're like, yes, we love it. And I'm like, no, no, it still doesn't work. And I'll do another one because it's not right. So I have to make sure it's perfect.
Yes. Oh, I wanted to know one more thing. I don't know much about felting except what I learned tonight. And when you have so many layers, I assume that what you're doing is making the next layer as solid as the first layer so that you can then keep attaching. So
Yes.
you're felting till it's the same density.
Yes.
So it's not like someone can come and pull something off,
Oh,
or
I'm
can
sure
they?
they could if they wanted to.
Mm.
It would take a bit of effort, but they could still rip it all off if they wanted
But
to.
it's right in there. Neat. Okay, thanks. Oops. Oh,
Dorothy
it froze.
come in. She might have had trouble getting in earlier or something. Hi, Dorothy.
Hello.
I'm thinking that we might just, now that we know a little bit more about how it's done, we might just look at the slides again because there's only a few of them. And then Dorothy would be able to see them. And if people have further questions when they see them again, that might be interesting. So what I'm going to do is, where is it? Ah, no. Okay, I can't share it now. Just have to open up my Chrome browser. Where is it? I see. That's why it's not showing up. Wait. Tis. Excuse me, just taking a minute here. Share. No, you're seeing something else, aren't you? Stop.
I've seen a group of it.
Yeah, I thought I had it, but I'm going to try sharing again and it'll work this time because I know what I'm looking for. There we go. Share. There. So this is the creation that looks like marble. Slideshow. This is Lamb Chop, who and Dorothy, these things, this one, Wendo, this would stick out from the frame or whatever you have it on the wall.
Yes.
It would be 3-dimensional, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Look at those eyes. My goodness. And there's the tulips that pop. They pop out. And here's you said you used a pickle dish to
Yep.
put this in.
Yep.
And
And
then
the
tiny
made with a wire. I used a wire to make the tree, and then I added the felting on top of that, the needle felted trunk and the branches and things.
So Wendo, I know it's a pickle dish and there must be quite, I'm thinking maybe 1.5 inches depth in that pickle dish. So is it all felt underneath the detail work that you have, or have
No.
you used something else?
It's foam. It's upholstery foam.
Okay.
Yeah. And foam is really easy to poke into.
Yes.
I can actually cut the foam to make it look like there's brooks and streams and things. And so I've actually sculpting with the foam itself as well, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I really love that one.
Yeah, I love the swing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a popsicle stick, that swing.
What?
A popsicle stick.
A popsicle stick.
I like it because it's so whimsical and you've kept something that means something to you, but you've embellished it to make it more decorative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
And this is the Four Seasons.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I did it again. This is the show that's still going on in Shawville.
Yes.
we'll go back to this one so that you can look at it some more if anybody has any more questions about it.
So you did them separately and then you kind of felted them together just to do the attaching. Was that a felting action?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah. If once we're finished, I can show you my tulips again, and I'll show you I've attached them as well. They're two separate pieces that I did. These were all done separately by, and I teach this workshop, so you can do your own season of,
Oh,
and I call them magic woods. And so I taught 4 classes, and I did a season in each class.
oh.
And then this is to show you're in, and it's been extended till the end of February. Oh, sorry. Now, this is a pet portrait, and you talked about how the eyes are very important to start with.
Yes, very special. You have to have those eyes perfect.
Could you go back to the poster again?
Yes,
Because
I can anyway. Yes.
keep your mouse away from there. So I'm looking at the other artists too, and are they felters? They're all fabric, you say?
Yep, it's all fabric. Nancy Garrard does wet felting, and then she stitches on top of
Okay.
all of that. And Meredith, she's the owner of Canada Bead Supply,
Ah,
which this is all beaded. And
wow.
Karen, she did, this is a huge piece. It's like 4 feet. And she does wet felting and needle felting on top of that. So, and my piece,
Yeah,
it's
that's
felted, and then I stitched on it. I did all different kinds of stitches with yarn.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's got so much texture to it.
Yeah.
great.
And that's Jack.
Just great. Yeah. What am I doing here? Exit. There we go. Stop share. All right. So did anybody else have any other questions? I know people have felt free, and you should, to just speak up. You don't actually have to put your hand up.
I'm curious as to how you do the eyes with the light in them.
It's called an eye shine. And that's an old animation trick. If you were to look at Japanese animation, yeah, you can show this, show Sky. Do a little bit of a close up on Sky. You want to make him the focus?
Okay, I'm gonna remove it and then make him the focus. There he is. Okay, I will remove the spotlight from you, and I'll put the spotlight on there.
Oh, so you can see there's these little white dots, and
yellow.
yeah, well, that's his eye color is a very beautiful hazily color. Yeah. And the eye shine gives whatever it is, if you're drawing it, if you're doing the felting, it gives it life. And if you look at Japanese animation, sometimes they have 5 or 6 little round dots in the eyes, and it's very off-putting. You really don't, you don't even see the eyes anymore. You just see these bright white circles. But it's really important to show the life in a character. There's a nice pup. Is that the pup that has lamb chop?
So is it felt making the white dot in the eye in this case, and yellow?
It's all felt. It's all
All
woven.
felt. Wow.
That's amazing.
Well, thank you. Certainly doesn't look like felt, but
Yeah, I've noticed if you were to look at other felt artists, they do these incredible felt pieces, but they use glass eyes.
Mm.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I feel like it doesn't give it enough life. And like, I guess I have to kind of say it's cheating. It's bad to say that, but it's like, no, you've got to do the eyes because that's what gives it so much character. And I find that they're just kind of lifeless if it's a glass eye.
They need to take a workshop from you on how to do these eyes.
That might be a good idea.
Yeah, that's pretty special.
Yes.
Well, it's very exciting to find the light in the eyes. I know when I was painting, the man took the end of the paintbrush and he dipped it into the white and then he tapped the painting.
Yep.
So I realized then that that white dot that you've got, the two dots in each eye, they're really critical.
Yep.
But I didn't realize you had used felt.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that Dorothy speaking?
Yes, it is. I'm lost tonight. I can't find my system. Anyway, I'm close enough.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
glad you got here. I was hoping you would come.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions? Anything, anyone, any comments that anyone? I want to thank Wendo for doing this wonderful talk. I think we've all been really impressed and intrigued and inspired by what we've seen tonight. Rena.
I have one more question. It's just because I was cleaning up at Mira the other week, and there's 2 boxes that said felting supplies on them. And the days when we had a good lively fiber arts group, and I, 13 years ago when I first joined Mira, I did a little bit of felting there. But this, I stashed them away and saved them all. I didn't throw anything away, but there was some kind of a nylon. It looked like just a mesh material.
Ooh.
That was just for the, I assume is what you felted through somehow or other, just like a cloth, but fairly coarsely woven, or, like you could see through it. And there was also another big bag of those bubble snap things, like bubble foam. And I wonder,
Bubble wrap.
and bubble wrap, would that particular felting person put that underneath instead of upholstery foam?
No,
No.
this the sheer
Pop,
fabric.
pop, pop. Pardon?
If you were to do some wet felting,
Oh,
you would use the sheer fabric
yeah.
to lay on top of your wool before you put water on it.
Oh,
You don't want to displace the wool. Like you've got so many, it's like a big fluffy pillow of fiber.
right.
And you put this sheer fabric on top
Uh-huh.
and you pour water on that. And then you start to squish it down and make it completely flat and it's completely soaked. Because if you were to touch that wool with your hand, you'd pick it up. It would come away just like, and it's also like wet dog hair. So you want to keep it contained. And the bubble wrap actually helps to felt that wool because it's got all these bubbles and it's a texture, and you rub the your fiber that's encased in the sheer fabric, you rub that on the bubble wrap, and that helps the process of speeding that felting along. And it's just a texture. I use boot trays that I got at Dollarama. They've got ridges, and you just rub the fiber on that, and that helps because what do you call those things? I have one. I don't know where it is. It's the things like they used to scrub board. The glass scrubbing board.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to use that, but it's very small. So
Washboard.
yeah, washboard. Yeah. So that's what those would have been used for. And don't throw them away, whatever you do. People that wet felt use that stuff.
Yeah, well, somebody comes along who wants to do a class. Yeah, I know, they're all carefully stashed away, but I just took them off the shelf where they've been sitting for, 8 years without being used. So, but yeah, hopefully somebody will come and there will be a group who would like to do that, possibly at Mira.
I expect that that's something that Heather would do with the children for art camp.
Well, I'll just tell her what, yeah, if she needs that stuff, I can tell her where it is. So good.
Helen, I wonder if that would
Oh.
be a material that was owned by Rosie. She did a lot of felting.
Yeah, I don't remember who I did it with, and I don't remember if it was wet or dry. I remember pulling things through something, like to reach anyway, but I don't remember much about it. It was just one class, but it could be Rosie. I don't know. Yeah. What do you?
Rosie
Meg?
certainly has recently done felting with the Fibre Arts group. It kind of fizzled out after COVID, but I remember seeing her in there doing felting with some people. And I know she brings a lot of her own supplies.
All right. I'll notify her about the bin.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to, can I jump in? I just want to, I know you said at the beginning in the intro, but just to recap where your fiber art is available to be seen. Do you just do shows around, or do you have other opportunities to see what you're up to
I
for
have,
us?
and I sell on my website. I've got a few pieces in the Textile Museum gift shop, and I do shows around town, and I'm in the Fibre Fest. I'm in charge of the workshops for Fibre Fest, so I'll be running around doing that. But yeah, I do mostly shows, and I think I am turning towards teaching more because I'm getting tired of having to schlep all my stuff around, all the display stuff to shows. But yeah, and I have a studio here in town, and
in town, you mean Elmont?
yes,
Yes, okay. Because
Yeah.
I don't live there, but this is Elmont based. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Textile Museum is in Elmont. And what about Cyberfest? Where is it held?
it's in Elmont as well. Sorry, this is the center of the universe, so I just assume everybody knows it.
Mississippi Valley Textile Museum.
Right.
Huge institution. If you haven't been there, you got to go. They have really good shows and a craft store. Yeah, a little store with all kinds of neat little things in it. Yeah.
Yeah. It is. That little
But
store is-
really very impressive. They've been around doing a lot of things for a lot of years now.
Yeah, yeah, very progressive.
I'll be up in the summer.
Good.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Do we have any more questions? All right. I want to say a very big thank you to Wendo. And there.
There you go.
Hearts.
Yeah.
Supposed to be. No, it's supposed to. This new technology, I thought it would send up bubbles if you give the peace sign, but apparently it's not quite working. So that was that was a way to say thank you.
Thank you so much. We learned a whole bunch and we got inspired. So
Thank you so much, Wendo.
For having me.
it's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Yeah.
And thank you, Carrie.
Oh, you're most welcome. I've had the most wonderful time doing this.
Thank you, Carrie, for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.